And we're live. Luke, how's it going?
How do you do, fellow kids?
All right. And hopefully this works okay. Um, I've had problems with Hangouts and OBS at the same time, but I got nothing else running, so hopefully we don't have problems tonight. Fingers crossed, everybody. In the Boomer Tech Hour, that we don't have problems. Go ahead and move the alert box to the top layer, just in case we get some donations from you generous folks. And if you want to support the show and have your comment read on the air, you can check out the old Super Chat and Streamlabs buttons and do just that. But if I'm being perfectly honest with you folks, I don't really have anything to talk about tonight. Not really. So good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. I think this was a good stream. Good, short, to the point. No, seriously, I didn't do any fucking show prep this week. I mean, of course I didn't. It's fucking Thanksgiving week. What am I supposed to talk about? I mean, well, guess we'll sit here and talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas and shit like that. But there's nothing in the news. I mean, okay, like Teddy Spaghetti last week had a meltdown where he talked about, I believe, how he wanted to suck Nick Fuente's dick or something like that. But we covered that. We covered most of Teddy Spaghetti's thing. You know, and we might do some more Bechtloff House of Pastas down the line, because those are fun. Those are a lot of fun. And like, is it just me, or has Vox Day gotten worse? You know what I mean? Like part of me doesn't want to shit on Vox Day too much, because I used to really, really like him. Like, I followed Vox Day since 2003. Since he was on WorldNet Daily, back when that meant something. And, you know, I read his blog, and through him is the whole reason I even discovered, say, Roosh, or the Manosphere, or Chateau Artiste, or any of that stuff. And Vox has written some great stuff over the years. SJWs Always Lie. Fantastic book. Can't recommend it enough. Summa Helvetica is a fantastic fantasy novel. It's got a little bit of pacing issues. Like, that's the biggest criticism I can lob at Summa Helvetica. The pacing is a little wonky. Like, it starts off really, really slow, and almost as if Vox was hitting some sort of arbitrary page limit. The story just careens like a freight truck down the highway towards the end. So it's got a bit of a pacing issue. That said, though, it's a fantastic book. Like, that's the biggest complaint I can give you. A little bit of a pacing issue. So part of me doesn't want to shit on Vox. But at the same time, there's no excusing Vox's behavior of the last few years, really. And this latest thing he did. Now, I actually had somebody in the comments. Okay, so real quick, in case you don't know, here's what he did. You know, obviously there's the stuff with the Groypers. All of Nick Fuente's fans, you know, they're poking every hornet's nest they can for fun and profit. Because that's what they're doing now. You know, famously they're taking it to a bunch of conservatives like Charlie Kirk. But Vox's butt buddy, Owen Benjamin, has been picking a fight with Nick Fuentes. So, of course, Nick Fuentes fans are hitting back, and they were hitting, you know, they were daring to comment on Vox's blog, his precious fucking blog, like this is still 2003. And good God, that's so fucking cringe, Luke. That is so fucking cringe what you're showing us there. Oh man. Anyways, so some of Nick Fuentes fans were giving Vox shit in the comment thread of his blog. Big deal, right? Well, Vox lost his fucking mind. And on Friday, he did a stream where he basically went apeshit and demanded Nick Fuentes debate him about the Holocaust. As if Nick Fuentes, or anyone under the age of 30 for that matter, gives a shit about the Holocaust. So, immediately afterwards, Vox took it down and tried to act like it never happened. So I had somebody, and it got saved. Dashing Rogue saved it. You should check out Dashing Rogue's channel, by the way. Luke is on that channel on Sunday nights. You should check it out. But Dashing Rogue saved it. That's where we watched it from. And What else? And Mersh from Revenge of the Sith, he saved it too and commented on it. But Vox took it down. And I had somebody in the comment thread when I did a watch of it, or at least we got halfway through, because Vox is insufferable. In-fucking-sufferable. He's so pretentious, so boring. You got to speed it up to 1.5 speed just to have him talking normal. It's like, remember how some of y'all don't know this because you're Zoomers or some shit like this, but if you're my age or older, you might remember a comedic actor by the name of Bob Newhart. And his comedic acting style was, he would do these pregnant pauses. But he was funny. Vox isn't funny. Anyways. So that's what happened. And we made fun of it on this channel. A lot of people have made fun of it because it deserves to be made fun of. Vox was acting like a faggot. I had somebody in the comments and they said, I feel bad laughing at this because Vox took it down. Well, I don't, and here's why. If Vox had taken it down and just put up a statement on his blog or on his channel or whatever, and just said, you know what, guys, I was acting like an idiot. I lost my temper, I let things get to me, and I made an ass out of myself. And I'm sorry. I wouldn't be harping on it. Maybe I'd take a pot shot here or there if it comes up, whatever. It's the internet, you joke about each other, it's fine. But I wouldn't be harping on it, you know what I mean? But that's not what he did, because that's not something he can do. Look, we all act like assholes sometimes. We all lose our cool sometimes. We all make an ass out of ourselves sometimes. It's part of being human. But that's not something Vox can admit. Vox cannot publicly admit, and he knows he did it, that's why he took it down, but he cannot publicly admit that he let people troll him into making a complete and total ass of himself. He cannot let those words come out of his mouth or out of his keyboard. And that's why Vox is worth making fun of. For all the good he's done. Summa Helvetica, great book. SJWs Always Lie, great book. I recommend checking, go on Amazon right now, pick up a copy of either one of those. I don't think you'd be disappointed. Frankly, I think a lot of the old hero stuff I've read has been pretty good. I know a lot of people want to shit on that, but I think they're shitting on it rather unfairly because they hate Vox. I think the name is cringe. Alt Hero, the name is cringe, by the way. That was a huge mistake. But the stuff's not that bad. But I'm still going to make fun of him. Because he deserves it at this point. Not even so much for the cringe, but because he just... No, the cringe is that he thinks he's a genius mastermind karate master. That's the cringe.
A karate master that speaks at 1.75 speed. Even if he took the debate, it would not be good optics. He says in that little video he takes down that he doesn't care about optics, he cares about the truth. But online debates require you to care about optics.
Something that makes me laugh, because he's taking, I guess, the the Holocaust is exaggerated or whatever. He won't harp out his position, but he thinks the 6 million is at least exaggerated. Fine, whatever. Problem with that is, Vox is currently hiding in some European hellhole. I don't know, either Spain or Italy. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't give a shit about Europe. Fuck Europe. My ancestors left the old world for a reason. But I do know in much of Europe, it's illegal to deny the Holocaust. So it would be very, very, very funny to me. Hysterically fucking funny. If Vox Day got what he wanted and went to jail or was deported as a result. That would make me laugh so fucking hard. And I don't support laws against denying the Holocaust. I'm a free speech guy. That's because we here in America believe in free speech. But also, no historical event should be above questioning. We should always be willing to take a fresh look at history and that sort of stuff. So laws against denying the Holocaust are fake and gay. So let's make that clear. That said, though, I'll laugh my ass off if this stunt gets him in legal trouble. I will die laughing.
Well, oh, I wonder if he got himself in trouble just for the little video. Although he took the video down, so that might be part of it.
That might be why he took it down. You know, now that I think about it, maybe it wasn't that he realized he made an ass of himself, because maybe he's not even capable of realizing that. Maybe he just realized he might get in legal trouble. That could be it.
That's understandable, but but that's just sad that the self-awareness levels is that negative now.
Yeah, I don't know. We're speculating now, but you know, whatever. Other than that, I mean, what else is there to talk about? There was Thanksgiving. That's what I guess there was to talk about. What about you, Luke? You're moved a little bit away from family. Did you do anything for Thanksgiving?
I just had a little meal with some friends, and then I just worked. I didn't really have any other. I didn't have any plans this year.
That sounds delightful. God, oh.
I live so far away from family now, and everyone has plans, and so it's hard to align with everybody.
That sounds delightful. I'm so sick of Thanksgiving. I'm so tired. I just, oh man. It's like an obligation. Like, I had a 4-day weekend. I'm in the middle of a 4-day weekend, I guess. But, I mean, really it was a 3-day weekend because I had obligations on Thursday. And I don't dislike any of my family, my extended family, you know, and it's actually not bad food. Like, most Thanksgiving food is gross. I'm sorry to tell you all, this country kitchen shit, it's gross. All right, most traditional Thanksgiving food is fucking nasty. It's bland and forgettable at best, if not just nasty slop. But my dad's cousin that I go to, she does actually make some pretty damn good food. She makes some garlic mushrooms that are fucking amazing. I could just fill my plate with those if it was socially acceptable. But yeah, it's good food. You know, something I noticed a couple of years ago, and this went away. I actually was pleasantly surprised. I think it was 2 years ago. I was at Thanksgiving dinner, and usually what happens, my dad and I get there a little earlier than a lot of the other people, and I kind of sit down in the old living room section, and I, put the TV on. Usually the parade's on, and I switch it to something else. You know, there's a lot of time. I remember years ago there would be like a House or a Law and Order marathon I would watch. Some channels usually playing some Bond movies or something like that. I think it was 2 years ago they were playing Jurassic Park on one of the movie channels. And hey, that's a fantastic movie. So I sit down, I'm like, Jurassic Park, that'll do. But I figured, well, eventually people are going to come in, they're going to want to put the goddamn game on. The fucking football game. The cuckball game has got to come on. Well, again, I think it was 2 years ago. Might have been 3, but I want to say it was 2 years ago. At the height of a lot of the backlash towards the NFL. I was sitting there, and people start pouring in, and I was like, ah, fuck. So much for Jurassic Park. But lo and behold, nobody changes it. Jurassic Park finishes. Jurassic Park 2 starts, which is kind of a shitty movie, but whatever. Nobody changed it. And I thought to myself, oh my God, did these football fans, do they actually, these fucking boomer football fans in my family, did they actually have the self-respect to not want to turn the game on? Well, that lasted a year, Luke.
Oh.
That lasted a year, because I believe last year and now this year, we're going to put the game on. So much for me thinking you football fans had some self-respect about yourselves there. You managed to last about a year in that, because it's still just as cocked. And you know what? Let's be real. Being a football fan, even before all this politics, it was always a little cucky. It was always a little cucky. Can we be real? Look, I don't want to be one of those guys who shits on someone because they're having fun a way I don't like. And I've grown a lot more tolerant of the sports ball fans in recent years than I used to be. And there's even some sports ball I like. Like, I like hockey. I don't follow it that much because you kind of got to go out of your way to follow it because no one cares about it. But I like hockey. If I'm ever flipping through the channels, and I almost never watch TV now, but if I was ever flipping through the channels, I come across a hockey game, I'd probably watch it. I loves me some hockey. Basketball. I'm not by any means a real big basketball fan, but I've had roommates before that were into it. I've had friends that were into it. I can sit down, watch a basketball game with friends, get into it. Football is fucking boring. Football is insanely fucking boring. Everyone who wants to go on about how it's like the gladiators. Yeah, I don't think the gladiators took a timeout every 10 seconds. It's so masculine and athletic, and it's such impressive athleticism. Look, I think hockey players are more impressive athletically. Hell, I think basketball players are more impressive athletically. Bunch of 7-foot-tall motherfuckers bouncing around like Spider-Man. That's impressive as shit. But if you want to go for pure masculinity, first of all, I think most hockey players are tougher. But if you want to go for pure masculinity, I don't know, the UFC exists? You know, mixed martial arts exists? Boxing exists? What is the fucking appeal about cuckball? I don't get it. Like, the only other major sports I would have a harder time watching would be baseball and soccer. And you know what else it boils down to? Your boomer ass, and it's usually boomers, but your boomer ass, and Vox Day, by the way, huge football fan. He'll block you from his blog if you dare to criticize it. You're a degenerate. Well, what do you put it? You're a pussy if you don't like football. Vox Day loves cheering on a bunch of big black men who hate him. And if you don't approve of that, then you're the cuck somehow. But your boomer ass sitting there watching fucking football, you are cucking. It's cuck. It's cuck shit. It really is. You're rooting for a bunch of big black guys who hate you. It's fucking cuck shit. Uh-oh. Luke's
Why is
playing.
that? The general response from the wearers would be, well, that's different. That's just showing support. No, that's what a t-shirt with the team's logo is for. What you're wearing is a reproduction of what the actual guy wears. In other words, a costume. If you wear Tom Brady's jersey, you are wearing a Tom Brady.
No, pause this for a second. And actually, this is one of the few decent Movie Bop videos, back when he was alright. But I would actually go further. No. You're not even cosplaying as Tom Brady. You're walking around with another man's name on your back. Alright? You might as well be saying you're Tom Brady's bitch. Walking around with another man's name on you. Now, you could be like, well, Bechtloff, don't you wear like a shirt with like Spider-Man on it? That's another man. No, Spider-Man's not fucking real. Alright? He's an idea. He's a character. If he was real, I don't think I'd wear a shirt with his name on it. Because that's kind of gay. But anyways, okay, so football's fucking gay. Alright, it's fucking gay. It if you're a big old football fan, it's fucking gay. You're fucking gay. It's faking gay. Alright? You're a cuck. You ever see that Stone Toss cartoon where he's looking at his son playing the Nintendo Switch like a big old soy boy and kind of like, son, sort of like disappointed at him. But then, you know, he hears touchdown on the screen and he turns into a giant soy boy himself. I don't know, man. It's gay. It really is. Somebody in the chat says, "Are sports jerseys just male on male findom?" It's male on male something, in my opinion. I don't know. I just always got that vibe from the hardcore sports fans. It's like, which one of these big black guys do I want to have fuck my ugly fat wife? Rush is like that too. Rush Limbaugh, if you ever, you know, he'll go on about fucking football forever on his fucking show. And you know I go on about geek shit on my show. You know, you could be like, shouldn't you be going on about politics? But my show's never just been politics. It's just been me rambling about what I want. But if I was on the AM fucking radio on a political show, do you think I'd spend hours going on about the latest fucking superhero movie I saw? No, because that's not what the fucking audience tunes into. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, the sports ball. It's just so cucky, and you gotta have some fucking self-respect about it. Like the NFL's, and I get it. Every major corporation's shitting in your mouth, but it's like they're so blatant about it. Every fucking game, just have some self-respect about it. I mean, yeah, I like superhero stuff. I didn't go see Captain Marvel. Okay? Like, have a little fucking self-respect about it. I don't know. I hate Thanksgiving. I really do. And I know everyone will go, like, Undertale gave me some shit in private a while ago, like, because I was saying, like, Halloween's awesome, Christmas is awesome, Thanksgiving is fake and gay. And he's like, you're just being materialistic. It's like, no. I like candy and I like horror movies, so Halloween's awesome. I like Jesus and I like giving my friends presents, so Christmas is awesome. I don't like turkey. I don't like country kitchen slop. And I don't fucking like football, so Thanksgiving sucks. I'm not against the concept of thankfulness. Okay? Elders fan says, Bechtloff, type in Mary Jane symbiote cosplay. You're welcome. Well, Luke, that might be something to check out for the images.
Let's see what we got here.
I don't know. I mean, just have some fucking self-respect about it. Well, that's delightful. That said, though, you know what I did Friday? I put up the Christmas tree. Oh, I put up the Christmas tree. Oh, it's Christmas time finally. That's the other thing. Thanksgiving was not only gay this year, it was late. So we got a shorter Christmas season. But I put up the Christmas tree. I got all my Christmas shopping done. I did the last little bit of it on Black Friday. I needed to get a few cards. Got a couple of gift cards, sent them out. But I don't really think I have anything else I have to buy. I got some extended people that I'll probably send some gift cards to, like, via email and shit. Amazon cards or something like that. But actual going out and shopping and buying, I'm done. And if you find folks are not done, you should check out the Bechtloff shopping guide for geeks. We did one in 2017, one in 2018. I didn't do one this year because I just didn't have enough new ideas. I would have just been rehashing the previous years. But yeah, I put up the tree this year. I love putting up the tree. I love Christmas time. Christmas is fucking great. Every year for Christmas Eve, my dad and my three closest friends, we go to a hibachi grill. And this started like the one year my dad and I, it was like Christmas Eve. We didn't feel like cooking. We're like, what's open? So we go to a hibachi grill. And this was years and years ago, like maybe like 04, something like that. But we just started going every year. And hibachi grills, it's a little salty. It's a little expensive. You know what I'm saying? So we don't do that often. But we ended up inviting some of my closer friends. And now it's my three closest friends, my dad and I. We usually exchange gifts, too, if we haven't seen each other a little bit before that. It's a great time. It's a great time. And all the food is fantastic. I usually go to my one aunt's for Christmas dinner, and it's one of those traditional, country kitchen slop kind of dinners, whatever. I enjoy the company, but the food sucks. Christmas is the best holiday. You're damn right. And I have nailed it on Christmas shopping this year. I have fucking nailed it. I start early. For a while I started in the summer and into the fall because I do like Comic Cons and shit like that, and that's like a great place to shop for people. If you have geeky friends or whatever. But yeah, I nailed it this year. See, I'm almost competitive with Christmas presents. Like, I will get you something better than you will get me. That is my goal. I will win Christmas, damn it. Like, you can get me this amazing gift. It just blows away what I got you, and I sort of open it up and like, motherfucker. You got me. Ah, you son of a bitch, you got me. But I get into it. I'm not big on the Christmas music. A lot of Christmas music is kind of shitty. It's like stuff written at the turn of the last century or something, or from the 20s. Like Walking into Winter Wonderland is a gay fucking song. What else? Most Christmas. Like, I like some of the old Christmas hymns, like God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, or To Herald Angels Sing, that sort of thing. But yeah, most, I guess, secular Christmas music, it's shit. That said, though, I get into the rest of it. The fucking decorating, Christmas movies. You watch your Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation, your Bad Santa. What else? Scrooged. Fuck yeah, Scrooged. Christmas Carol, the George C. Scott Christmas Carol is the best version ever put to film. I will fight a motherfucker over that. The George C. Scott, and it was actually a TV movie in '84, I think on CBS. But the George C. Scott Christmas Carol version, best version put to film. Eldritch Fan sends $2 and says, Mary Jane symbiote cosplay by Project Nerd. Well, there you go, Luke. But yeah, George C. Scott's Christmas Carol, best version put to film. In fact, I would argue of all the versions of A Christmas Carol, and there's like a fucking billion, there's only 3 that need to exist. If you want something that's like a modern spin on it, modern take on it, you go with Bill Murray's Scrooged. It maintains all the heart of the original while being absolutely hilarious. That is absolutely delightful, Luke. If you want a kid-friendly version, you go with Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol. None of that Muppets Christmas Carol shit, because that's after Jim died and all the Muppets sounded wrong. And if you want a true to the source material version, you go with George C. Scott's Christmas Carol. You cannot beat that one. I don't know, a lot of people will be like, I like Die Hard as a Christmas movie. Herder. That's not a Christmas movie. Alright, it's a movie that happens to take place at Christmas. You don't sit here and be like, my favorite Christmas movie is a movie that happens to take place at Christmas, but Christmas isn't really a part of it. And don't get me wrong, Die Hard's a fantastic movie. It's not a fucking Christmas movie. That's like saying like Spider-Man's, like the 2002 Spider-Man's a Thanksgiving movie because of that one scene. Like, no, it's not. No, the best Christmas movie. Best Christmas movies are like I said, Bad Santa, George C. Scott's Christmas Carol, Scrooged, Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation. It's probably
Starts with the letter D.
Why, yes.
Yes, starts with the letter Y.
True.
And true starts with the letter D.
Hey, what is this?
Where we come from, this is small talk.
the Muppet Christmas Special. That's actually worth a watch. I think you can find it on YouTube, like in its entirety. You can't find it on VHS anymore, though, because those 3 properties that are involved in that ended up sold to different companies. Disney owns the Muppets now. Whatever the hell owns Sesame Street still owns it. And I don't know what the fuck owns Fraggle Rock these days. Maybe it's Disney, too. Defunctland did a really good, I think it was like 5 or 6 part series on the life of Jim Henson. And it talked about back when Henson was still alive, he wanted to sell to Disney because he thought that would keep his characters alive well past him and all, which turns out to be a double-edged sword there, Jim. But he did not want to sell the Sesame Street characters to them. Disney was pushing hard to try and get their mitts on them.
Let's see. Muppet Family Christmas from the 1970 DVD is $22.
Really? I didn't think they ever put that on DVD. I thought it only saw a VHS release.
Let's see. Was there a restriction on it though? Is there anything? No. I guess it's available if you want to buy it.
Huh. Well, if you have kids around, like, you know, if you have a bunch of if you have like a bunch of family over and you want something on that'll entertain the kids, it's just nice background stuff, it's definitely worth getting. You know, it's a kids thing, but unlike most kids things
Have you
now,
heard of Jesus?
it's not about lesbians or something. Neo-Orthodoxy donated $10. No message, I don't think. Let me double check.
Oh wow! A Muppet Family. I found a DVD of I'm not sure if this is a VHS or DVD, but it's going for $110.
Doesn't look like there's a message with it, but thank you very... Oh, damn. That's salty. But thank you very much for the $10.
Well, wow, what makes this $110?
I think it had very limited release because, again, once Disney bought most of the Jim Henson properties, they didn't have the rights to the Sesame Street characters anymore. I think Kermit's still on Sesame Street. I think Kermit had this weird sort of status where he's both a Sesame Street character and a Muppet. Like he always was when I was a kid. But I think like when the company kind of split, I think both entities got the rights to use Kermit, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody says Disney owning the Muppets annoys me more than them owning Star Wars or Marvel. To be fair, they did a lot more right by the Muppets than they did the Star Wars. That's for fucking sure. Hell, I can't even say they've done a lot wrong with Marvel yet. I mean, Marvel Comics is in the shitter, but that's not really Disney's fault. That's just... If anything, I feel like if Disney had more of a hand in Marvel, in the actual comic wing, that would probably be a little better. That said, though, they've butt-fucked Star Wars into the ground. There's no denying that.
I look forward to the same happening with Marvel, too.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm saying yet. Yet is the key word in that sentence. So he says, oh, Sesame Street's had the rights to still use the Muppets. I think it's just Kermit. Because the only one that used to appear on both was Kermit. Like, I remember as a little-ass kid, Kermit would be on Sesame Street. But Kermit was also, obviously, the main Muppets character. My first real introduction to the Muppets as a kid was the Muppet Babies cartoon, which is kind of a shame because that cartoon was ass. Like, I know it's fondly remembered, and I don't fucking understand why. Even as a little kid, I thought that cartoon sucked. It wasn't until, like, in the mid-90s, they did the Muppet Show again. Like, they brought the Muppet Show back for a couple seasons. It didn't do that well, but it was actually pretty funny. And then that made me curious into looking into the older Muppet stuff. You know, and I went back and watched the Muppet movie and the old Muppet Show and shit like that. Let's see. Somebody says MCU is about to get woke. That's what it sounds like. Remember, I said yet. Zach the Bong Ripper says, do you think Miss Piggy engages in the dark arts with Kermit? I would be almost certain she does. You know? I know what you're talking about there, Zach. And yes, I believe she does. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe we can just smell our own. But I get that vibe. Somebody says, I love the blue and red Martian sketches from Sesame Street. Still pretty good for a laugh. Actually, yeah, you're right. Again, I highly recommend go to Defunctland. He goes through the entire history of Jim Henson's whole life and career, basically, and it's very fascinating. It's especially fascinating how many abject failures that man had. Like, you know, we remember the successes, but even stuff like is considered a cult classic now was often considered a failure at the time. Like Dark Crystal was kind of considered a failure. Labyrinth was considered an abysmal failure at the time. But, you know, we look back at the success. It took him forever to get the Muppet Show on the air. It took him forever to convince studio executives, no. These goofy puppets can be used for general audience and adult humor. No, the Wilkins coffee stuff. Yeah, that was... Oh. Yeah, Jim Henson was truly one. There's certain creators of the 20th century, entertainers of the 20th century, I would put on this very special pedestal. I mean, I mean like maybe half a dozen of them, like Walt Disney, Jim Henson, Stan Lee. You know, guys that just not only were they great entertainers, but they defined whole genres. You know, they were pioneers in the landscape of modern entertainment. You know what I mean? You know what? You know what's a fun fact about Stan Lee? I didn't know until recently. I was watching Toy Galaxy did a really good show on the history of the Japanese Spider-Man show, which, if you're not familiar, it was a live-action superhero show, but aside from the costume and powers, had nothing in common with Marvel Spider-Man. It's interesting, the Japanese Spider-Man is actually one of the universes in Marvel's multiverse. It appeared in the Spider-Verse comic series, or comic storyline. Anyways, Stan Lee, back in the 70s, basically had the idea for Power Rangers. Like you know, that Marvel had sold the rights to Japanese companies to make their own Spider-Man, all this stuff. And Stan Lee's looking at all these goofy superhero shows in Japan, right? And he was like, you know what? And he went to every Hollywood TV executive he could possibly do. And you know, there was some Marvel stuff on TV. They briefly did a live-action Spider-Man in America. It didn't do that well, but they did about a season of it. Obviously, they had great success with the Incredible Hulk. But Stan Lee went to him and said, look, here's the plan. We take these dumb Japanese superhero shows, bring them over here, we redub them, we reshoot the scenes out of costumes with American actors. Before we even start, 30% of the footage is already done, and it's the expensive 30%. We would be printing money. And everybody's like, that's fucking stupid. 20 years later, Saban does that with Power Rangers and makes shocking quantities of cash. Stan Lee begged ABC, NBC, and CBS to do this. Like, no, and even some of the syndicated companies that made, you know, shows that were syndicated. Like, guys, come on, I'm telling you, this is some of the easiest money we could possibly make. Like, I get Marvel involved, we'll even make tie-in comics. I'm telling you, we will be raking in the cash. You're stupid, you old man. You don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, 20 years prior, Stan Lee tried to make Power Rangers happen, basically. Somebody says Jim Henson took puppetry out of the creative ghetto. Yes, he did. So he says almost like family entertainment can entertain the whole family. Yes, there is a stark difference between something that's made for kids and something that's made for the family. Like, I always use, as far as movies, I say, like, you know, pick any Pixar movie. Incredibles, Toy Story, WALL-E, whatever. That's a family movie. Take some garbage like Spy Kids. That's a kid's movie. There's a world of difference.
A difference that YouTube's news channel sub doesn't understand yet.
Oh God, yeah, no shit. This show is not for kids, by the way. If you're under 13, get the fuck out of here. But yeah, there's a world of difference, you know. Let me put it this way: for Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog, the cartoon with like Princess Sally and all, that's a family cartoon. Sonic X is a kids cartoon. So how about you, Luke? You done all your Christmas shopping?
I'm still halfway there. Still trying to decide. The way Christmas shopping worked with my family, it's mostly for the kids. We just we used to have a secret Santa list, and we used to exchange names. But nowadays, it's just for the kids to gather to have fun.
I got you. I like I said, I get my dad some stuff because it's basically, you know, he's my only really close family. I have extended family, obviously, but he's my main family. And then, you know, my closest friends in real life, I get them all one or two things each. You know, I try to get them something special. Like, I try to really keep my eye out for something special. And like I said, I think I nailed it this year. But yeah, I don't have a huge list, but I mean, I got like 7 people on there easily. And I mean, I'm doing all right this year, money-wise, so, you know, no excuses to not be generous. You know, I'm hardly rich, but I'm doing considerably better than I was last year. So, any Christmas movies you check out each year, Luke?
Yeah, I usually do the Rogues Gallery of the animated versions, which is the Grinch Steals Christmas, the Garfield Christmas, Claymation Christmas, and of course I'm going to have a big recommendation to the new Grinch movie just because of the way it ends.
Yeah, those are all great. I don't even mind the live action Jim Carrey Grinch. I think it's all right. I mean, it's not something I'd be like, you should go check this out, but it's fine. I think people shit on it a bit too much. You know what I don't like that everybody fucking loves, and I just can't. I've never been able to get through it. Like, I think I've seen the entirety of it, but not in one sitting. Is that Elf movie with Will Ferrell? That's so fucking bad. I don't get it, guys.
My niece and nephew loved that movie. They watched it every single year, and every time they watched it, and I don't get it. It's so off. There's something off about this movie.
The whole movie, I'm like watching it. I'm like, you know, The Sweet Release of Death sounds really good right now. You know what I saw last year that was fucking terrible, and I'd never seen it before? White Christmas with Bing Crosby. That movie sucks a dick. That movie absolutely sucks a dick. Like I had heard about it, and you know, there's that line in Christmas Vacation. We're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. But I've never actually sat down and watched that movie. And it sucks. Oh my God, that's bad. I was at my aunt's last year and she was watching it. She wanted to watch it. And I'm just sitting there like, this is fucking awful. Holy shit. I would rather watch Elf. And I would rather kill myself than watch Elf. So what do you think I'd rather do than watch... If I went to hell, Luke, if I had not accepted our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Luke, and I died and I went to hell, they would make me watch White Christmas on loop for the first few thousand years. Like, somebody says as bad as It's a Wonderful Life. Here's the thing about It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life has aged poorly. There's no denying that. And it got played to hell and back because for a while it fell into public domain. It might still be in public domain. But It's a Wonderful Life has a solid story structure. If ever there was a movie that begged for a good remake, It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. That movie begs for a good remake. Because the story is good. It's rough, though. The acting is rough. Everything about it is rough. Everything about it has, to put it generously, not aged well. I'll agree with you on that. But because there's an actual interesting idea at the core of It's a Wonderful Life, I will put it leagues and bounds above White Christmas.
Yes.
Because there is nothing to White Christmas. There is nothing there. You know what White Christmas is about? Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny fucking Kaye. That's what White Christmas is about. That's all you can take away from that movie. So yeah, I'll agree. It's a Wonderful Life. It hasn't aged well. It's rough. But still, leagues and bounds above White Christmas. White Christmas doesn't even feel like a movie. It feels like a play, but not even like a play. It feels like a stage show you would watch when you're at a dinner theater.
Yeah, it just has a whole flat experience. You're just looking at, we're watching someone filming a stage performance.
I'm sitting there watching that movie last year, and I'm like, is this really? This movie's considered a classic. Is this really White Christmas, or am I just having a stroke? Because I'm getting up there in years. I'm in my 30s, Luke. You know, I got to date a girl that knows the warning signs of a stroke. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, am I just having a stroke? Is this reality? Is this the real world? Because it doesn't feel real. You watch White Christmas and you're like, does anybody else smell burnt toast? You know? Oh. Yeah, I'd rather watch Elf. I would rather watch Elf. I would rather watch like Tim Allen's The Santa Claus 4 or whatever the last one was, where he fought Martin Short. Like, I'd rather watch that one.
Is this real life?
Yeah, exactly. That's me watching White Christmas. What's happening? Am I having a stroke?
Although an interesting Christmas movie I never really saw until 2 years ago was A Christmas Story.
I never cared for that one, but I can kind of see why people do. It just never really connected with me.
It's an odd one, and I saw it for the first time. Like, oh, this is the one everyone's always talking about how they like the show. It's like, it's a little weird.
And I know it's rough, and it's obviously not for kids. One of my favorites is still Bad Santa. That movie's fucking hilarious. And you know what's cool about it? It still manages to have a nice redemptive message in it. Even though it's redemptive in like a very real life way. Like, I love A Christmas Carol. I love it to death, Luke. Don't get me wrong. I could quote it to you. I've read the book. I've seen dozens and dozens of versions of it. But let's be real. That's not how most people have their epiphany and they want to be a better person. That's not even how people who come to Christ end up. It's not this 180 where you're all of a sudden like a totally nice guy. Like, you know what the redemptive arc in Bad Santa is? It's Billy Bob Thornton's character deciding to try and be less of an asshole. Like, it's so delightfully real. Like, yeah, maybe I should be a little less of an asshole. Like, that's his redemptive arc, and I love it for that. And not only that, but it is hilarious. That movie is... John Ritter is so funny. That black midget guy is so fucking funny. The scene where the girl the mom from the Gilmore Girls is the love interest in it, and she has a Santa fetish because she grew up Jewish and she wasn't allowed to celebrate Christmas. So she meets this guy at a bar, and she first night she's fucking him in the car, and like she wants him to keep the Santa outfit on, so you just see her bouncing on his lap going, fuck me Santa, fuck me Santa. And it's so fucking hilarious. I just about shot Pepsi out of my nose the first time I saw that. Like that's the redemptive arc. When he desperately tries to get that present to the autistic kid, because he's like, damn it, this kid's gonna get his elephant. Like, and then he gets a nice plea bargain because the cop shooting an unarmed Santa 14 times in the back was pretty fucked up. So they just wanted to sweep that under the rug. But yeah, that movie's great. I love it. And of course, Scrooged. My God, Scrooged is an absolute... Bill Murray's Scrooged is a masterpiece. It's one of his best movies, period, which is saying something. I mean, I'd say Ghostbusters is the only Bill Murray movie better than Scrooged. And it's just so funny, dude. Like at the beginning where there's all those fake Christmas specials, and I'm like, I wish these were real. Like Lee Majors saving Santa and stuff like that. That's so fucking awesome. The night the reindeer died. I fucking love that movie. Yeah, Scrooge is one of those ones I'll watch every year. And I mean, Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation is fantastic too. I don't know. I really can't think of any real modern Christmas. I mean, aside from Bad Santa, can't think of any good Christmas movies in the last few years though.
Yeah, the only Christmas movies I see in modern times are always, they're always Santa Claus movies, and they're always based on that stupid theme of trying to convince children that Santa Claus is real, or something about Santa Claus being confirmed through faith or something.
I will say the only one of those kind of movies I really, really like is I like Miracle on 34th Street. And one of the things I really, really love about it, and I love when movies do this, you could very easily interpret that movie either way. Like, you could easily interpret that movie that this is just some kindly old man who's in some sort of delusion or something, or he is actually Santa Claus. I mean, they win the court case just by saying, well, the post office recognized him as Santa Claus, so legally he's Santa Claus. They did a remake of that with the girl from Matilda in the 90s. That girl's kind of a cunt, too. Like, in real life. So he says, wasn't there a Schwarzenegger movie set around Christmas? Yeah, Jingle All the Way. I never really cared for it. Some people do. Some people claim it's a bit of an unsung classic, but it never really connected with me. There were sequels to Bad Santa, too, I think, but I never watched them. Because, I mean, honestly, Bad Santa didn't need a fucking sequel. Come on, guys. Like, there was no more story to be told. You mentioned Claymation Christmas earlier. I hadn't thought of that in years. Oh, I remember watching it as a kid. Oh, you know what Christmas movie's great? Oh, what is it called? I think it's called like A Christmas Horror Story or a Christmas. Luke, look up something called A Christmas Horror Story. The movie poster will have Santa Claus fighting Krampus.
Oh, yes, I'm looking for it now.
Yeah, Claymation Christmas was great though. I miss stop motion. That movie is fucking fantastic. I stumbled across it on Netflix a couple years ago because I was looking for the Krampus movie, which also isn't bad, by the way. But I was looking for the Krampus movie and A Christmas Horror Story, yes. So I found this one. Netflix didn't have Krampus, but they recommended this one. It's an anthology of Christmas-themed horror stories, right? And it is fucking fantastic. One of the main stories in it that we keep cutting back and forth to is Santa Claus at the North Pole, and there's like a zombie outbreak among the elves. And I don't want to spoil how that one ends, but watch this movie. I will give this a big recommendation. Watch A Christmas Horror Story. Yeah, definitely. Krampus is pretty good, like the Krampus movie from a couple years ago. And I'm glad to see Krampus making sort of a pop culture comeback because, you know, kids need Santa Claus and Krampus. You know what I'm saying?
The only downside to like the Krampus movie is that there's real no way to combine horror and comedy shots. It's very difficult to combine that stuff together.
Well, some movies do it quite well. But you definitely got to lean more on the other. You gotta make a decision which one you're gonna lean a bit more on. Like say Return of the Living Dead definitely has a lot of comedy in it, but it obviously leans more on horror. Something like say Beetlejuice has a lot of horror elements to it, but it leans more on the comedy. Part of the problem with Krampus is it kind of switches back and forth. It really can't decide which one it wants to lean on, you know? Oh, somebody mentions Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Nightmare Before Christmas is fantastic. I almost view it more as a Halloween movie, but it's really both. It's a Halloween movie and it's a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah, I watched that over and over again for the aesthetics.
Oh, that movie's great. Dashing Rogue sends $1.99. Thank you very much for the super chat. And he says, "It's a Wonderful Life is about nationalism versus globalism." That's an interesting take. I mean, I know there's a lot of elements of the bank in it, but I hadn't really thought of that.
Yeah, I guess it is. Of course, I remember it's like there's stories that it was originally there was interest in the movie when it first came out because they thought it was socialist propaganda in some degree.
Well, it was very anti-bank, and I think one of the biggest problems the right has when defining its economics is they have allowed, quote unquote, the free market and capitalism and all these other great things to be defined as banks get to do whatever the fuck they want and the rest of us can suck a dick. And then they're surprised when socialists gain traction. Well, yeah, nobody likes the idea of banks do whatever they want and the rest of us get to suck a dick, okay? So, you know, go ahead and fight for quote-unquote my free market all you want, but when you're just fighting for the banksters, nobody's that's not going to be popular.
Yeah, it means the banksters are the only one. The banksters are the only one using the free market at that point.
Look, everyone that's had some sort of monetary system where lending with interest has become a thing has said, okay, well, we have to have limits on this. We have to have some ways to rein it in, be it debt jubilees, bankruptcies, whatever. Usury laws, that sort of thing. You either have some caps and some limits and some reins on that shit, or eventually your nation will collect enough debt that it will be crushed under the weight of it. You will eventually have more debt than money, which is where we're at now. You know, our government's debt is this basically fictional number at this point that can never be paid. So yeah, you want to go on about the free market. You want to go on about, well, look, if you wanted to be the free market, then those banks should have collapsed in '08, shouldn't they? You want to go on about the free market and capitalism and free enterprise and all that stuff's fucking fantastic. I love it. Nothing builds prosperity better than that. But guess what? The moment you decide that we're going to be lending money on interest, and nothing inherently wrong with doing that, you got to realize, well, this is a fucking fire we are starting here. And it has to be contained and it has to be watched or it will burn everything down. Fire's great in the fireplace where it fucking belongs. But it's got to be kept there. My little side note rant on that. But yeah, you can't just be letting the banks do whatever the fuck they want. That's the problem we're in now. Banks do whatever they want. The rest of us can suck a dick. I can't wait for Christmas. I wish it was Christmas now. But yeah, I'm a festive Bulbasaur all year long for Christmas. What else is a great Christmas movie? Well, like you said, the Garfield Christmas special. There's a Garfield Christmas special. There's Charlie Brown, Rudolph, all that good stuff. Did you know Rudolph wasn't public domain for a while? Rudolph was actually owned by Montgomery Ward for a while. The department store that's, I think died in the 90s or something. But yeah, Montgomery Ward originally owned Rudolph. They came up with him for some sale back in, I don't know, the 30s or something. Yeah, all the Santa stuff is public domain, obviously, but... Garfield Christmas is fantastic. And then, of course, if you got odds are if you got a girlfriend, she's making you watch 1 million Hallmark movies this month. You know the ones where some successful either guy or girl ends up in a situation where they're with a down-to-earth guy or girl and they're taught the true meaning of holidays and friendship and love, and there's usually a cute dog. That's a Hallmark movie. And boy, has Hallmark made $1 billion fucking dollars doing that. Somebody says Santa's Little Helper, the Simpsons episode where they got their dog. Oh yeah, I think that was actually that might actually have been their pilot, to be honest. I think that was their first episode, was a Christmas special. It was early season 1 at least. Rudolph, the story of how Santa's a dick unless you're useful to him. So he says, now SJWs are complaining that Hallmark movies have no LGBT characters. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get anywhere with that, because Hallmark is making shocking quantities of cash off their Christmas movies. And there's literally, I remember a couple years ago we read an article, there's literally like a small town where they film these things, and they churn these things out like Hallmark has, for better or worse, Hallmark has done to movie making what Henry Ford did to making automobiles. Like, they literally have an assembly line of fucking making movies. Like, they will make these whole movies from writing the script to It is ready to go on the air in like a couple of months. And they just churn them out by the dozen every year.
Oh yeah, but an area of creativity, Netflix just released Klaus.
I might check that out.
It's the story isn't too fantastic. It's a new variation on the origin story of Santa Claus, but the animation is beautiful. It's like classic 2D animation, but everything has a certain like stylized aesthetic, what makes it look like it's CGI. But well, of course, the best origin story for Santa Claus is the life and story of Santa Claus in claymation, where they give him the whole pagan roots, how he's raised up by pagan spirits and given immortality because of his good deeds.
Wasn't there a movie a little while ago where it was like Santa Claus's loser brother or something? Like an animated movie?
Arthur, yeah, or it wasn't his loser brother. It was his it was a competition between his alpha and his beta son.
Oh, okay.
But, well, not even a competition either. It's like they remade Santa Claus into this huge futuristic faction where they have this flying spaceship and they have the elves going around like ninjas playing all the gifts. And there's has to be a decision of who's going to succeed the Santa Claus because he's entering retirement age. And the obvious choice is the alpha son, but it ultimately kind of go. But the younger beta son is more emotional and more heartfelt than his brother.
Did you see the Simpsons? Oh, no, I'm sorry, the Family Guy episode where Stewie goes to the North Pole and they sing that song "Christmas Time Is Killing Us," and how like Santa Claus is working all his elves to death to keep up with everybody's shopping list, and at the end of it, like the world decides we can only ask for one thing for Christmas because Santa can't keep up with all this shit. It was one of those like. Family Guy does about once a year an episode where they actually do like high quality animation. And it was one of those episodes. It's usually the Stewie and Brian go on a road trip episode. Though the one year they did that episode where they were all at the mansion and there was like a killer among them or something. But yeah, they do that like once a year, the big, really high end animated episode. And yeah, that was the one of them.
Can't you see that Christmas cheer gets us through the year? My whole crew is black and blue. Can't you take a clue? They think I look great, but I'm 28.
Somebody says Fred Claus was a live action one with a loser brother. Did Fred Claus have Vince Vaughn in it? I was getting confused. Yeah, Vince Vaughn was like Santa Claus's loser brother or something. I don't think I ever saw that one, which is weird because I like Vince Vaughn.
Oh yeah, I never saw this.
Yeah, I might have to check that out sometime. I like Vince Vaughn, so.
Oh, and Santa's believed like Paul Giamatti. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's right, he was. That's a hell of an actor. He can just disappear into a role. Well, shit, I'm about out of shit to talk about. I might go ahead and wrap this up. We're about at an hour. But you know what, folks? You know something I do have to talk about before we wrap this up? And that's my lovely sponsor, the good folks at Asshole Consulting, where you can get you the big brother / fatherly advice that you didn't get from your older big brother who's some Gen Xer who's too busy being ironic, or your boomer dad who's too busy supporting Israel to actually be a parent. No. You can get you the actual big brother / fatherly advice that you need. So check out the good folks at Asshole Consulting. It's $100 an hour, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. Because you're only going to use, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of his time? So check out the good folks at Asshole Consulting. And also, if you enjoy this fine program, you can check out the PayPal, Patreon, and Amazon wish list. The links are down below. They might not be down there while we're live, but they'll be down there shortly. And If you're listening to this later, they'll be down there. And check out that Amazon wishlist. You get your favorite Bulbasaur, something for Christmas. You know, what better way to celebrate the Christmas season than to get your favorite Bulbasaur something off of his Amazon wishlist? I can't think of a better way. And, yeah, that's probably all we got for tonight, folks. Yeah, it's a lazy holiday weekend. I mean, what is there to talk about? You know, what's going on in the news? Who cares?
Christmas time is killing us.
God, Seth MacFarlane's actually a hell of a singer. I heard he actually put out a Christmas album of like doing a bunch of those, like, you know, I don't know what you call them, but old style songs, you know. And
Well, he did the whole like, you know, the music vocal jazz, like the whole Frank Sinatra kind of stuff.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's actually a hell of a singer. Seth MacFarlane is a lot more talented than a lot of people want to give him credit for. A lot of people seem to want to hate on Family Guy. And I get it. Family Guy's best days are probably behind it. But it's still one of the most entertaining things on TV. Not that that's a high bar.
My little chickadee, you may say that you're through with me.
Yeah, I like the guy. He's a bit of a shitlib, but he's kind of like a 1990s shitlib, which basically almost puts him right of center these days. And he's a bit of a fedora, but, you know, he's not like a banana up his ass fedora, so I don't mind. And The Orville's a great show. I look forward to, unfortunately it's got shuffled over to Hulu for season 3, but I look forward to season 3. The Orville comic was actually pretty good. It takes place between seasons 1 and 2. But anyways, that's about all we got for tonight, folks. And thankfully, we did not have a lot of problems with frame skippage. That's just lovely. Thank you, OBS, for actually working. And like I said, if you enjoy the content, consider supporting the show. Check out our sponsor. Check out the PayPal. Check out the Patreon. Check out the Amazon wishlist. Those are all ways you can support the show. And, yeah, that's about all we got for tonight. Thank you, Luke, as always, for your sidekick duties. And thank